so much for joining us. We'll take a look at some of the results here in Indiana coming up, but we start with the race for president. Indiana was the first state on the map as former President Trump is once again elected president, winning about 295 electoral votes as of Friday to 226 for Vice President Harris. Raquel Martin has more from our Washington bureau.
Some Republicans are calling it a red wave. We saw a seismic shift to the right across the country, with former President Donald Trump outperforming Vice President Kamala Harris, setting up big wins for Republicans in the Senate and potentially in the House. Against all odds, 2 assassination attempts, multiple indictments, and 2 impeachments, former President Donald Trump is elected the next president of the United States.
The greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond.
Election night data shows Trump swept battleground states, including the prize of the night, Pennsylvania. Trump made gains with younger voters and Latino voters, specifically men, and is winning the popular vote, the first Republican to do so in 2 decades. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris underperformed compared to President Joe Biden.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted.
The VP called Trump to congratulate him on his win before addressing supporters at Howard University.
While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign.
Certainly a happy day for the GOP.
Republicans will reclaim the upper chamber after defeating at least 2 Democratic incumbent senators, Montana's John Tester and Ohio's Sherrod Brown.
This is a disappointment, but is not a failure.
For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
Okay, Raquel, thank you. On social media, Trump's former VP Mike Pence said the American people have spoken, and Karen and I send our sincere congratulations to President-elect Trump and his family on his election as 47th President of the United States. The former Indiana governor notably did not endorse his former running mate this year. Meantime, here in Indiana this week, we are hearing from our state's new governor-elect, Mike Braun. And after his big win Tuesday, the focus now turns to his plans for a new administration. State House reporter Hannah Adamson was with Braun on election night and at a press conference he held on Wednesday.
As the Indiana General Assembly prepares for its next budget session under a new governor's administration, it's go time for Governor-elect Mike Braun to choose who will serve under him within 80 different state agencies.
All I can tell you is I move fast.
Wednesday, Governor-elect Mike Braun announced his transition team, a team consisting mostly of prominent Indiana Republicans that helped him craft his freedom and opportunity agenda.
And I'm bringing on people that reflect that point of view. Actually, be creative, entrepreneurial, get more done with the same or less.
We did ask Braun if there were any Holcomb administration appointees he hopes will stay on, although he didn't have any specific figureheads in mind at this time.
So yes, if there's an agency that's working well, just because it's been part of something else, you'd be silly to do something with it. But I'll look at each one critically.
In terms of his legislative goals, Braun says his margin of victory could give him more leverage with the General Assembly.
And I'll accept it humbly and try to engage everyone in my own party along with good ideas across the aisle.
Although he says his goal of health care reform will most likely take more than one session, expect property taxes to be front and center next year.
Hopefully that can be Senate Bill 1, House Bill 1, and do it in a way that builds on the platform I put out there, and I think we'll get that done.
But one issue he says will not be the focus next session, the state's near-total abortion ban. Earlier this year, his running mate suggested the state completely ban abortion with no exceptions.
I don't think there's going to be anything done on that issue because it's already been litigated.
Notably absent from Wednesday's press conference, Governor-elect Braun's running mate, Lieutenant Governor-elect Micah Beckwith. Braun says that Beckwith is on board with his transition plan and that Braun is open to giving Beckwith additional responsibilities, duties, and tasks outside of what the current lieutenant governor position does, although he did not specify what exactly those additional assignments and tasks could be. Reporting from the State House, I'm Hannah Adamson.
Okay, Hannah, thanks. These were the final results in that race for governor, with Braun winning by about 13 points. We heard from his opponent, Jennifer McCormick, at her watch party on election night.
Though tonight wasn't the result we were looking for, we have so many wins, but it's up to us to take advantage of them.